And if you want to know how to do a derby draft, it's at Nate NFL on X. He will fill you in on that. His DMs are always open.
You are now listening to the Dynasty Rewind.
What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the Dynasty Rewind. I'm your host, Michael Bauer. Best in the business is once again back in business, joined as always by my faithful co-host, Nate, Professor Christian. Nate, hello and welcome back.
Oh, I muted myself. I'm unmuted now. You made sure to tell me to mute myself during the intro, so I did. I'm still here either way, though.
Nate, you're doing good down there outside of Baltimore?
I am. Made it through the thunderstorms tonight.
So did I. Hopefully my power does not go out again. It went out a couple times, even though I had already reset all the clocks. So I get to do that again after this. But today we are joined by a very special guest, a very dear friend to me. It's been a while since we've had Shane on the show. We got Shane Manila in the house. Shane, welcome back. It is great to see you again.
Hey, hi, how's it going? I'm excited to be back. I had something pithy to say, but I lost it already. I'll come back to it. So if I just randomly say something derisive towards one of you, it's because I thought of it like earlier, like now. Anyway,
that's fair.
No, I'm excited to be here. We did a mock. Mock really flew by. Everybody was honed in on this mock. Truly appreciated it. I will say this before we get into all that. My mock is very much what I plan on doing in the real Scott Fish Bowl.
And Shane, before we get started talking about this mock that we're doing tonight, why don't you tell everybody who you're with and where they can find you?
Well, I'm single. So if you know anyone, the woman, man, at this point, it doesn't matter. I've been single a long time. No, I'm with DDFB, DD Fantasy Football on the YouTubes. It's DDFB. I have a couple shows, Mannequin Chill with my good friend Scott Connor. Then I have Dynasty Deal Show with Scott Connor and Ty DeClaire. And then I have the Shane Says show with just me. So if you like a little bit of me, those other two shows are great. If you like a lot of me, then there's that middle show. That show doesn't draw as well. But, it is what it is.
Well, we're going to get a lot of Shane tonight, and Shane is awesome. If you ever get to meet him in person, come down to the Scott Fish Bowl live draft in Philadelphia on July 20th. You can see both myself and Shane at the garage in Fishtown.
Yeah, it's not a garage. I don't want people just randomly showing up to any garage they see in Fishtown because that could be dangerous.
Our DMs are always open on Discord too. Patreon.com/Dynasty Rewind is how you get in there. And for any other articles or anything like that, DynastyRewind.com. Check it out. I have a fantastic article on Trey Harris up now.
Yeah, that's
right.
Okay, Mike, I got the scoring here. Okay, so we got 6 points for all touchdowns.
Yep,
all of them. We got 2 points for all 2-point conversions. Very standard there. We got 1 point for every 25 passing yards. So that's 0.04 per yard. We got 1 point for every 10 rushing and receiving yards. All pretty standard stuff so far. 1 point per first down. Okay. And this is where we start to get into kind of the different things. We got the 1 point per first down. We have on Sleeper, because you can't track targets like you can on MFL. On MFL, they're doing 1 point for a target, 1 point for a reception. On Sleeper, it's 2.5 points per reception. So 2.5 points per reception. Tight ends get an extra point per reception. There's also 0.5 points per carry. So a lot going on here. There's IDP scoring I won't go over, but it's in there specifically for Travis Hunter.
Right.
And in the starting lineup, I think is the most interesting thing here. You have 9 flex spots and 2 super flex spots. So you don't have to have a running back if you don't. You don't have to have a tight end if you don't want. You don't have to even have a quarterback if you don't want to have a quarterback. So lots of versatility in building your team here.
Yeah.
You did hit that. You did hit that. MFL and Sleeper are a little different, right?
Yeah. MFL with the targets and Sleeper, which is the 2.5 per reception.
Yeah, and you can't go 0 QB in Sleeper. You can do that in MFL, right? You can go all. I believe you can go.
I think you can go 0 quarterback in Sleeper. There's no quarterback position. So
isn't there? Oh wait, there was in the mock. Oh, the mock threw me off.
Yeah.
Anyway, go ahead.
Yeah.
It wouldn't matter. I didn't take quarterbacks till late, but anyway, sorry.
Yeah. Here's what we're going to do. I'm going to run through these picks. I won't touch on any picks that aren't my own. I'll let you guys discuss anything that you want. Stop me whenever, just to keep things moving along a little bit. How's that sound?
Sounds good.
Okay.
Thank you, Shane. All right, so pick 101. Lots of targets here. Jamar Chase.
Terrible
Pick
pick.
What's yeah,
Sorry.
that's a bad one. Yeah.
No,
Um,
it's not that bad.
yeah. Pick 2, Brock Bowers goes to Jorge from Fantasy and Frames.
Real quick, Jorge, I know we're only 2 picks and we've said something every time, but Jorge's in my division, which we've already started. We're actually the 801 just went. So we're now in the 8th round. Jorge's picking right in front of me, and he picked up Brock Bowers here at the 102. In my draft at the 111, he picked up Brock Bowers. So he's probably pretty happy with that.
Yeah. Pick 3, which is Colin. I don't know if I'm saying your last name, Mick Tamani. He's also organizing the Scott Fishbowl Philly draft.
There's absolutely no way that is the correct pronunciation of his name. But go ahead.
Look, I'm from Pennsylvania and I'm part Dutch. What do you want from me? He took Bijan Robinson at the 1-3. Pick 4, Kevin Coleman stirring the hornet's nest in the Jalen Hurts versus Cam Newton debate on X. He takes Josh Allen at the 1-4. My man Zach, Christian McCaffrey at the 1-5. Skull Nation, this is one of our rewinders at the 1-6. And then at the 1-7, probably one of my favorite picks that wasn't my own, Shane takes Jahmyr Gibbs. Shane, you want to touch on that a little bit?
So, I mean, we've already talked about it's 2.5 point per reception. It's 0.5 for first downs.
It's actually point per first down, 0.5 per carry.
Per carry. I'm sorry. It's point. Okay, run that again because I screwed up the scoring and people might
it's
actually want to know
1 point per first down, 2.5 points per reception, and half a point for a carry.
So 1.5 points for every first down. So generally, I'm going to lean running back. Although I did use the whole. I used some Gemini to ask, who had the most first downs last year. And I was actually a little surprised because wide receivers are right up there. Like Jamar Chase, like I was joking about his pick being bad. Jamar Chase had a ton of first down receptions last year. But all that said, Jahmyr Gibbs has, I think he has CMC type ceiling, right? And more specifically for this tournament, I just felt like, he was the best running back on the board that was left. I would have taken him over Christian McCaffrey. And quite frankly, I probably would have taken him over Bijan too, to be honest with you. Maybe not Christian McCaffrey, because Christian McCaffrey is a healthy Christian McCaffrey will absolutely break this league scoring. But I mean, it was really about the format and the scoring. Really, that's it.
All right. I still think it's a great pick there. Jay Maiden at the 1-8, also a rewinder. He takes Saquon Barkley. Somebody I have my eye on as well. Well, you don't get a lot of first downs when most of your touches are 60-yard touchdowns, but still, touchdown is 6 points. I went with Lamar Jackson at the 1-9. I'm going to say it again. We got to put it to bed that Lamar Jackson can't throw. When you throw for over 4,000 yards, you can throw. Plus, with his rushing ability, there's so much upside there with Lamar Jackson. He's not a sympathy MVP like Josh Allen is. So I went ahead and took Lamar Jackson at the 198. I said that just for you.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I really do. And I think this is a really smart pick because of how many times he's going to run the ball. Like him in this next pick and, with Jaden Daniels, you're going to get a lot of extra points with them rushing the ball.
I agree. Darth Zader, another rewinder. He takes Jaden Daniels at the 110, which, again, a fantastic pick. My man Hoff, who, if you want to hear Hoff's Patreon podcast, again, patreon.com/Dynasty Rewind, just released it last night. It is all college-oriented. It is fantastic. It is digestible. So if you're new to Devi, you're new to C2C, he breaks everything down really easily for you guys. Great voice, too. Love Hoff. He's the man. He takes Ashton Genty at the 111. So our first rookie going off the board at the 111. I do think it's a good pick. There's the volume, the upside is going to be there for sure. A lot of other times in a format like this, rookie would be a ballsy pick in the first round. This isn't the case here, I don't feel. And then, Nate, you are finishing it off with Joe Burrow at the 112. And then take me in your 2-1, CeeDee Lamb.
Yeah, I went with Joe Burrow because I wanted to have a quarterback. And then I quickly learned that, hey, we're not picking quarterbacks that quickly as I expected. So then I switched my strategy up and I actually drafted my Scott Fishbowl and I actually waited on quarterback, which I can get into in a little bit. But I wanted Joe Burrow because he's going to throw for 40-something touchdowns, probably 5,000 yards. That defense is going to be terrible this year. And he's got T. Higgins back. Jamar Chase, of course, is there. So And Higgins is actually going to be there in training camp, so I expect them to start the season hot. They were a little slow to start the season last year, so Joe Burrow is going to throw for a ton of yards. Not going to have really the rushing upside those other guys have, but I was excited about it. CeeDee Lamb, lots of volume here, going to catch a lot of passes, going to have a lot of first downs. Kind of an easy pick here. I took the 112 in this mock because I'm picking 112 in the actual Scott Fishbowl. And just to give an update, because hey, here's my first 2 picks. In the real Scott Fishbowl, I actually got Justin Jefferson at the 112, which was an absolute steal, I thought. I'm not sure why he lasted that long. And then I picked up Derrick Henry with the 2-1 in my actual Scott Fishbowl draft.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Did you touch on CeeDee Lamb? Sorry, I was looking something up for you.
Lots of balls, lots of first downs.
All right, very good. So CeeDee Lamb at the 2-1. And then at the 2-2, Hoff is saying to Nate, hey, day 3 running backs matter. Bucky Irving going there. Derrick Henry, you want volume at the 2-3, you're going to get it. And I went ahead, I took Breece Hall at the 2-4. We know what Breece Hall can do as a receiver, which is part of the reason I wanted to go Breece Hall here. Devon Achane was on the board. Shane, a great pick for you. We'll get to that in a little bit. But I just feel Breece Hall, less competition than Achane has down there. I know Mostert's not there anymore, but it seems like they never really want to give Achane the full workload. That doesn't feel to me to be the case for Breece Hall. So I took Breece Hall at the 2-4, and Jalen Hurts at the 2-5, I think is a great pick. We know what he could do with his legs as well as his arm. Yes, he didn't throw for 3,000 yards last year, but the guy that went at the 1-8 made it so that he didn't have to. And then Shane at the 2-6, UNHN, still a great pick. What were your thoughts going into this pick here?
Lots of receptions, lots and lots of receptions, but not just that. I mean, he had over 200 rushing attempts last year, which, you know, considering his frame and well, just that and what he did in his rookie season, I think some people would have been surprised to see him hit that height, those heights. He's never going to be a guy that rushes the ball 300 times, right? Because he's just it's physically impossible, but you also don't want him to. You know what I mean? Like last year was the perfect usage for him. You get that guy 200 carries and 87 targets. That's about as good as it gets. Like if he could continue to do that, you know, obviously he'll smash this year. I'm just looking, he's been consistent over his first 2 years. And I don't know what it'll look like in the Scott Fishbowl scoring, but he's been 17 points per game his first 2 seasons, right around there. So he's consistent. I know there's concerns about injuries and all that good stuff, but he did play a full set last year.
All right. So good pick by Shane at the 2-6. Then Jonathan Taylor at the 2-7. Puka Nacua at the 2-8. I love that pick by Zach there. Malik Neighbors at the 2-9 by Kevin. Amon-Ra St. Brown at the 2-10. Josh Jacobs at the 2-11. A guy I was thinking about at the 2-4, honestly, it's a little more confidence in Breece Hall this year. Call me crazy. Trey McBride at the 2-12, so our second tight end off the board. Then Chase Brown at the 3-12. Before we go any farther, what did you guys think about Chase Brown here over a guy like Alvin Kamara, James Cook, Kyron Williams? Would you think about Chase Brown too early?
Well, see, you got tricked by the 3rd-round reversal, Mike.
I did. Never mind. So where am I going back to? Drake. See, this is why I hate 3rd-round reversal. Sorry.
It's the worst.
So I'm actually going back to Drake London then, right?
And look, you picked Drake London.
Yeah, no, sorry. Forgive me, everyone listening or watching. This is why I hate 3rd-round reversal. All right, so never mind. So Chase Brown at the 3-12. So perfect. Okay, great. So Drake London at the 3-1. Nate, talk to me about your 3-1, which was a fantastic pick there.
Thank you. This is my first share of Drake London, and it's in a Scott Fishbowl mock draft that we didn't even fully finish. So I'll take that as my victory. Drake London's going to catch a lot of passes this year. I think it's another team where, I talked about Joe Burrow going to throw for a lot because the defense is going to suck. The Falcons defense is also projected to suck, be a bottom 3 defense this year. So whether Michael Penix is good or not, he's going to be slinging the ball. And Drake London's going to be the wide receiver 1 there. If you look down the board, I also picked up Darnell Mooney. So I'm just high overall on the Falcons offense. I think they're going to have a lot of opportunities to be in shootouts, which means a lot of volume, a lot of receptions, a lot of first downs. And it's going to be a lot of fantasy points, especially in this kind of scoring.
All right, perfect. So then we go Travion Henderson, which I think is going to be, it's not really a ballsy pick. It's going to catch a lot of passes. Marion Hampton at the 3-3. Brian Thomas Jr. at the 3-4 by me. Look, I know Travis Hunter's there. We saw what Brian Thomas Jr. could do last year. Give me a healthy Trevor Lawrence. Travis Hunter is only going to help Brian Thomas Jr. take some coverage away from him. Evan Ingram's not there anymore. I believe in Brenton Strange, but I think Evan Ingram would have been more of a threat for targets than Brenton Strange will be. So I felt comfortable taking Brian Thomas at the 3-4. We go Nico at the 3-5, and then Shane, back to you. Kyron Williams at the 3-6.
Dude, I am hammering running backs again. This is
That you are.
This is my actual plan, right? It's just hammer running backs, and if it goes this way for me in the real draft, I will be stoked. Kyron Williams is a guy. Yeah, he could have gone earlier in the draft. I'm happy he fell here. He's another workhorse guy, right? He might not be explosive, but he's going to get the job done. He's going to get a ton of touches. He doesn't get as many targets as you would like. Maybe that'll change, but he definitely gets the workload that you want. And I don't think Jarquez Hunter is going to cut into that workload too much.
No, I don't think so.
Probably not.
All right, so moving on from that, Lab McConkey at the 3-7. I like that pick. I like these next two picks a lot. AJ Brown at the 3-8 gets a lot of targets as well. Alvin Kamara, picked by Kevin. I think this is a fantastic pick in the 3rd round. If this was a year or two ago, that pick is most likely higher. I don't know why we're sleeping on Alvin Kamara. What do you guys think about Alvin Kamara at the 3-9?
Oh, yeah. Great pick in this format. He's going to have, I mean, he's gotten a lot of touches over his career, and they didn't really add a ton of competition. I mean, they added Devin Neal, who you know I love, but I don't think Devin Neal's really going to push Alvin Kamara out of a large workload down there. And they have not a lot of else going for them on offense, so he's going to be a huge part of that.
I mean, but Alvin Kamara is declining. He only scored his highest points per game since 2020 last year. I mean, the dude's just he's going to, again, a ton of receptions, right? I have to look. I don't think he's ever hit 1,000 yards rushing in his career in any season. But every year, he's at least 14 points per game. 14 points per game was the lowest of his career, usually somewhere in the neighborhood of 18 to 20. So, yeah, assuming health, the dude's going to smash as always. That's a great pick. That really is a great pick.
And I hate saying that it's a great pick because Kevin made it, and he's a known Cowboys fan. You are right, though, Shane. He has never rushed for 1,000 yards in his career. His closest was in 2020 when he had 932 yards. Oh, I lied. 2024, he had 950 yards rushing.
So close, so close.
So close.
And he had his 3rd highest career receiving yards as well.
Yes. Yeah, my favorite stat for Alvin Kamara is that the first 3 years of his career, he had exactly 81 receptions each season.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that he did.
I was hoping that was just going to continue the rest of his career, but
it made it easy to keep track of.
Yeah,
that's true.
So we got Garrett Wilson next.
Yeah, sorry, I had to cough. Garrett Wilson at the 3-10, George Kittle at the 3-11, and then Chase Brown rightfully at the 3-12, where he belongs, not the 3-01. Now we can talk about Chase Brown. Still, is it too early? Excuse me, end of the 3rd round, or what do you guys think? There's some other guys on the board here. Maybe we could have considered ahead of him.
I don't think it's too early. I mean, he went 304 in my actual Scott Fish Bowl draft. I think this is a volume thing. I mean, are you scared of Zach Moss? Are you scared of Taj Brooks? I don't think anyone really is. I mean, maybe they should be. Maybe they should be. But Chase Brown's going to get a lot of receptions. We know that. And he got a pretty large workload last year as well with on the ground. So
I don't know what to do with Chase Brown. You know, there is no really consensus on him. People either really love him or really hate him. So
I mean, he basically put up like an Alvin Kamara season last year with 990 yards on the ground, 7 touchdowns, 54 receptions. Just didn't quite have the yardage, only had 360 yards through the air.
Well, why throw it to the backs when you got those good wide receivers there in Cincy, right?
There's that. There is that. I mean, I don't want to say I'm agnostic on Chase Brown, but I am kind of agnostic. I think he's good. He's very good. He fits that team very well. We saw how well he played when they got Zach Moss out of. Well, Zach Moss got injured. I don't want to make it sound like it's a good thing. So Zach Moss got injured, and he finally they had to give the load to Chase Brown, and he was great, man. I mean, he was absolutely great last year. If you look at the games where he started, not the games that Moss was there, I think he was up around 20 points per game. So he's kind of a stud last year.
It sure was. I'm not sure I feel about him for Dynasty long term because, hey, it's a day 3 running back. But I do like him a lot this year, for sure.
All right. Moving on to the 4-1. JSN. You want targets? You got it. JSN's going to get them. I know Cooper Kupp is there. JSN's the guy in Seattle. Devontae Adams. Dustin wrote a great article on him, making a case for Devontae Adams being a wide receiver 1 in Dynasty this year. So go check that out on our website. He goes at the 4-2. A very Nate pick at the 4-3 with Bo Nix. We got Marvin Harrison Jr. at the 4-4. James Cook. This was the guy I had in my queue to hopefully take next. I got sniped. James Cook at the 4-5. Terry McLaurin at the 4-6, which I think good value for old T-Mac. Kenneth Walker the third or junior, whatever he is, going to Shane at the 4-7. Shane, I guess you're not worried about Zach Charbonnet?
No, I like Charbs. I like Charbs a lot. I'm still heartbroken that that's where he was drafted to, because I loved him coming out of college, and I think we saw last year when he gets the opportunity, that dude can smash. But from what we saw last year, he doesn't get opportunity when Ken Walker's playing, because
True.
they put him right back on the shelf when Ken Walker came back last year, and that was after he smashed. So that just seems to be the modus operandi there. So, or modus operandi. Whatever, I'm not really sure. It's one of those. But either way, that's their MO. So I'm not particularly worried about Charbs.
All right. I think it's a great pick at the 4-7. Rashee Rice at the 4-8. And then I went ahead, like I said, James Cook was going to be my guy at the 4-5. Unfortunately, that didn't work out for me. So I went ahead and I took Joe Mixon at the 4-9. He got some really good volume last year. Does have some competition. Who did they sign down there, Nate? I just remember being irritated when they signed him. And then we were
Nicholas Chubb.
Yeah, Nick Chubb.
That's right.
And they got Woody Marks as well, who they drafted.
Yeah, Woodrow Marks.
I was excited about Woody Marks. I guess we just got to put him on the back burner for a year. So if you haven't done your rookie drafts, definitely worth a late round pick. Stash him on your taxi
I
squad.
mean, he might be around this year. I mean, I'm not going to say that Nick Chubb is going to be like great or healthy.
Different roles, right? I mean,
Woody Marks is going to be a little step back for them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But I think Joe Mixon, we've seen the volume that he's able to take throughout his career. So him at the 4-9, I like it there. Mike Evans at the 4-10, good for 1,000 yards. It's what he does. Justin Fields taken by Huff at the 4-11. And then Nate, I really love this pick. Chuba Hubbard at the 4-12. Give me your next two picks, Chuba, and then roll us into your next one.
Yeah, I was really happy to pick up Chuba here, who ended up with 250 carries last year. So he's going to have a huge workload. They sound Rico Dowdle over there, who I love, but I think Chuba's the guy over there. They got it in to sign to an extension. Jonathan Brooks is out for the entire year already officially. So Chuba's the guy there. He put up some really good numbers last year. Also put up 43 receptions, ran for almost 1,200 yards. Had double-digit touchdowns as well. So there's a lot of workload there. I'm a believer in the Carolina Panthers offense this year. I like Bryce Young. I like McMillan going there. I don't think they're going to be like a top 10 offense or anything, but they're going to be much better than where they started off last year. And then Quinshon Judkins here. I think there's a lot of upside with him volume-wise, because Jerome Ford is going to be probably involved in the passing game there. But I think Judkins is going to get the majority of touches on first and second down. We could see him get 250 carries. I mean, if the offense is decent at all, he could maybe get close to 300 touches. So I think there's a lot of volume for him, because there's not a lot of competition in that backfield. I'm not a big believer that Dylan Sampson is going to be a guy that's really going to push him too much. They forced Jerome Ford to take a pay cut earlier this offseason. So all signs point to Judkins being the guy down there.
Oh, that was nice of them to do that.
Yeah, they took away about $2 million. I think it was like from 3.8 to 1.8.
Cool.
Yeah, it was nice.
Yeah,
they said, if you don't take this, we're going to cut you. If you do take it, we'll keep you. So
I would have told him to cut me. Yeah, just saying. He's proven enough. He could have probably made that back up. So I don't know. I hate when teams do that. It irks me. James Conner at the 5-2. And if James Conner is healthy, I think this pick could really pan out. Sam Laporta at the 5-3. And then I got sniped again. Sam Laporta would have been my next pick. So Darth sniping me. Thanks, pal. But you know what? TJ Hawkinson, kind of my consolation prize here. What is the best thing for a young developing quarterback? Safety valve, tight end. TJ Hawkinson's that guy. Hey, still got Jordan Addison out there. You got Justin Jefferson. So still, I still think Huck is going to get his. David Montgomery at the 5-5. And then Shane, yeah, you're still going running back, man.
Yeah. Look, I'm getting that horse, beating it to death, then giving it mouth to mouth, and then beating it to death again, and then I'm shocking it with the defib, bringing it back, and like just chilling for a minute, and then I just beat it to death again when it thinks everything's okay.
Caleb Johnson was your guy at the 5-6. You're not worried about Jalen Warren, Kenny Gainwell, Trey Sermon, Evan Hull?
Kenny Gainwell. What do you know about Kenny Gainwell, Mike? What do you know about Kenny Gainwell? As an Eagles fan,
he's a really good running back 3 for an NFL team.
There you go. No, look, Warren, I assume Warren will have much of the same role that he had last year, and that Caleb will have much of the same role that Najee Harris had last year, which was a ton of touches. So I'm good.
Yeah, I think it's a great pick in the 5th round. Don't hate that there at all. Aaron Jones at the 5-7. I like that pick as well. Tyreek Hill, this one will be really good as long as Tua stays on the field. T. Higgins, 5-9. Question for you guys. If you're picking in a vacuum between Hill and Higgins, which way are you going? I know that Higgins is the 2 on the team and Hill's the 1. But what do you think there?
I mean, probably this year I'm still going Hill in a vacuum just for redraft. But I like I said, the Bengals are going to be putting up a lot of points this year.
Yeah.
So Higgins is close. But I think until I see Hill really disappear, which I think Jonnu leaving actually helps Hill out a little bit. I know people were saying, oh, it's Waddle, it's, Achane. I think it helps out Hill as well. I mean, it's going to be a little bit less spread around. I don't think Darren Waller is really going to take a ton of targets for many of them. So I think Hill has like one more year. We see him kind of resurge, and then maybe he actually starts declining after that.
Shane, agree, disagree?
I don't know, man. I worry about an older wide receiver having that bad of a year, what it looks like coming back. Now, I also don't particularly believe in T. Higgins, and I've pretty much been going around all summer saying I don't believe T. Higgins is as good as what he showed last year. It was an anomaly. It was an anomalous season for him. I think just shooting upside, which is funny because I think Higgins was like wide receiver 6 last year. I'll go with Hill. I mean, look, the guy 2 years ago was the wide receiver 1. He's got multiple wide receiver top 3 seasons in him over the past 6 years. So, yeah, I'll go there.
All right, fair enough. I also love this pick, DK Metcalf. And if you take a look, and that's at the 5-10, if you look at the Steelers depth chart, there's not a lot of competition for targets in the wideout realm. You got Robert Woods and Calvin Austin III are your other 2 starters in Pittsburgh. Gross. Baker Mayfield at the 5-11. DeAndre Swift at the 5-12, and ETN, whichever one it is now, Nate, I can't keep them straight. Travis Etienne, because Travers plays with Trevor. Got it. No 2 Trevors alike. At the 6-1, CJ Stroud at the 6-2. I think he's going to come back and look more like his rookie season this year, personally. Devonta Smith at the 6-3. Kyler Murray at the 6-4. Then we have Jameson Williams, 6'5". Travis Hunter getting that IDP scoring all the way down at the 6'6" there. And then Shane, you got yourself a quarterback in the 6th round, and look who fell to you. A good one.
Yeah, at this point, I looked at the running backs, and I said, okay, well, if I'm taking another running back here, I'm just trying to prove a point. You know what I mean? Like,
well, you did that in the next round.
Yeah. Patrick Mahomes is sitting there just looking at me like, seriously? So how do you not take Patrick Mahomes here? I broke I could not go any further than was this the 6th round? Yeah, I couldn't go any further. Look, if there was a different running back, if RJ Harvey, did I draft him over RJ Harvey?
Yeah, you did.
I did. I did draft him over RJ Harvey. I did think about RJ Harvey, but I was like, that's probably too cute. I'm just looking at the other running backs that went before him. ETN, Mich. I wouldn't have taken him. The only guy I really would have thought about was Harvey, and I did think about it, but I moved on him. But like just looking at the next batch of running backs, there's not a running back that made sense to take over Mahomes here.
Right? Yeah. I mean, good throw for a lot of yards, regardless of who his wideouts are. And in the 6th round, call that value. So, hey, if you're watching this, you're not in Scott Fishbowl, please, the scorings are definitely geared towards, receivers, running backs, running quarterbacks. Patrick Mahomes, more of a, I guess you could say, scrambling quarterback than a running quarterback per se. He looks to throw first. And RJ Harvey at the 6'8", Shane did think about it for a minute there. I was looking at Mahomes with my 6th-round pick, hoping he fell to me. I got Justin Herbert. I'm happy with that. So I got Lamar Jackson, Justin Herbert. Totally cool with that. By all means, I'm hoping he throws like a lot of 11-yard slants to Lab McConkey. So just keep racking those completions up for me. And we got DJ Moore at the 6'10", Xavier Worthy at the 6'11". Nate, hit me with the 6'12" and the 7'1".
All right. So here at the 6'12", I picked up Drake May, who is one of the best rushing quarterbacks already. He put up some really, really good numbers last year in EPA per rush. And I think with a full season, we're going to see him really be that rushing quarterback. I think he's more in the mold of like that Josh Allen kind of quarterback than he is of a pocket passer. So we're not really talking about it a lot. Number one, because he's up in New England and the Patriots kind of suck. But number two, he's white, so we don't really think he runs that much. But he runs a ton, so he's going to give me a lot of points per carry. And I don't know if that offense is actually going to be good, but I'll take the points per carry. And then Ted McMillan.
Real quick, you are right. 13 games last year, 421 rushing yards and 2 touchdowns.
Yeah, it's going to be good.
Not bad.
I like Drake May a lot on the ground, so it's going to be good. Ted McMillan, just kind of shooting upside here. Looking at the other wide receivers, there wasn't anyone that really stood out to me as like, the obvious pick here. I was thinking about a couple of different guys, but Ted McMillan just kind of shooting for upside. There's Xavier Legette there, but McMillan's obviously the one. Like I said before, I'm a believer in the Panthers offense taking a step forward this year. The second half of the season last year where Bryce Young had the resurgence, they went from being the worst offense in the NFL to being average, like 15th in the league, which was a huge step up midseason. So if they can just be average again this year, McMillan should put up a good number of points.
At the 7-2, Tony Pollard. Not quite sure what to do with him, but this is a redraft format, so I don't hate pick here. He's obviously not going to be on any team, in this draft format next year for this league itself. What do you guys think about Tony Pollard at the 7-2? Shane, let's start with you.
Who'd I take?
No, we're talking about Tony Pollard
Robinson later, but you didn't
Tony
get to
Pollard.
Tony Pollard.
I like Tony Pollard.
This is what it's like podcasting and hanging out with Shane Manila.
I got distracted.
He's only half there,
lights.
half the time.
I got distracted by lights. I heard you saying you didn't know what to do with Tony Pollard, but I like Tony Pollard. I think again in this format, this is a really good pick this late in the draft. Late's relative, but to be able to get what is likely a 60, 65, 35 type of split running back, assuming health, I think that's a great pick right here, to be honest with you. He's not as explosive as what he looked like in Dallas 2 years ago, but he was still very good last year when he was on the field.
Yeah, he actually went the 5-2 in my Scott Fish Bowl draft. So
okay, so could be very good in this format if you are playing.
I think it's more volume than efficiency with Pollard. I like Tyjae Spears much later. I think that's a pretty good value because it probably is like a 65-35, like Shane said, but it might be a little bit closer once we get into the season. Especially, I think Cam Ward is going to help that offense out a lot. I'm going to see Tyjae Spears out there a bit more in passing downs and stuff like that. So
after that, we got JJ McCarthy at the 7-3, and then I took Zay Flowers at the 7-4. If you listen to the channel, watch the channel, listen to the pod, I'm a Zay Flowers fan. Lamar Jackson's wide receiver 1, so I got a nice little stack there with Jackson and Zay Flowers. I said wide receiver 1, Nate, not receiver 1. I know you still believe in Mark Andrews, and you should. One bad drop. Don't kill the guy. Brock Purdy at the 7-5, and then Shane, you went running back. Brian Robinson Jr. at the 7-6.
Well, that's crazy. Look, Brian Robinson Jr. is not fun. He's not explosive. Well, let me correct that. It was fun watching him fumble every other carry against the Eagles until those scumbag Commanders tried to spike Jalen's head into the turf to steal a win. But that's okay because they got their doors blown off in the NFC Championship.
55-23.
Disgusting. Too easy. Light work. But all that said, again, when he's playing, he's the workhorse, right? He is the workhorse there. He's not explosive. There's nothing exciting about him, right? But he's a lunch pail type of dude, right? Like you're going to give him his 15 to 20 carries. He's going to go out there once in a while. He's going to break one off for, 10 or 11 yards, but he's going to be, efficient isn't the word I'm looking for, but he's going to give you some yards and he's going to give you scoring. He's going to get what's there. He might not get more than that, but he'll at least get you that.
He could be like last year's Najee Harris.
There you go.
Yeah, I think he's a volume runner, and that's what you're going to get with him. And if the offense continues to be good, it's going to be a good pick. Fun fact, you picked him up here at the 7-6 in my Scott Fishbowl draft. He also went exactly at the 7-6.
Yeah, 187 carries last year in 14 games. Year before that, 178. And in 2022, he had 205. So can definitely handle the volume. Let's see, 20 receptions last year, 36 the year before. Yeah, and he did have 47 first downs in each of the last 2 years. So definitely good for this format. Where are we? Caleb Williams at the 7-7, George Pickens at the 7-8, the number 2 receiver for the Cowboys. Najee Harris at the 7-9, kind of like a Brian Robinson Jr. Going to grind out you'll get a lot of touches, get a lot of first downs. Sorry, I don't know what I'm doing. Chris Olave at the 7-10, Jalen Waddle at 7-11. Then we wrap around. John takes back-to-back quarterbacks, and this looks like a Nate wraparound here with Dak Prescott and Trevor Lawrence. Then we go to Travis Kelce, who in all the mocks I've done, any startup mocks I've done, I've seen Travis Kelce just absolutely plummet down the board. He's still going to get a lot of targets out there. I know he talked about possibly retiring, but he's back. Everyone's saying he's looking real good. So I don't know. It's crazy. Scoop up the value. Isaiah Pacheco. Nate, you actually drafted him in your Scott Fishbowl draft.
I did.
You're not a Pacheco guy, really, but the volume's there.
Yeah, absolutely. And the competition is not there. So as long as he's healthy, I mean, he set up for a ton of carries. And if you look at what he did in 2023, when he did have the RB1 role, I mean, he put up a lot of points. So I'm going to take a chance on that.
Perfect. Cortland Sutton at the 8-4. Juwan Jennings at the 8-5. Tyler Warren at the 8-6. I got sniped again by Skull Nation. Jerry Jeudy at the 8-7. Shane, also another guy I had in my queue, and you took him at the 8-7. Your first wide receiver coming off the board.
I needed one. I needed at least one.
You got him.
So at least he's a wide receiver one for his team. He balled out last year, though I know that was with none of the quarterbacks that are on the roster now. So that's a little
Flacco was there for a little bit, wasn't he?
Was he?
Or was he in Indy all year?
I think he was in Indy all year.
I think it was in the Browns the year before that.
Yeah. I think I'm pretty sure he was with because last year it was Watson for 4 games, which I completely forgot about, like 5 or 6 games. There was Dorian Robinson. It doesn't matter.
Yep. Indy all year last year for Joe Flacco.
Yeah, whatever. He balled out with a trash bag collection. There you go.
James Winston is when he looked good.
There you go.
Yes.
So I needed a wide receiver, at least one, just to keep things above board. So got a wide receiver one from a team that works for me.
Yeah, it was a great pick. I was going to make that pick, but I couldn't. Roma Dunes at the 8-8, and then apparently I'm a Ravens fan, at least for fantasy purposes, but I took Mark Andrews, so I got a nice little stack there. Not going to do this in my Scott Fishbowl draft, but this is just where the value fell to me. Mark Andrews gets a lot of targets. I know everyone likes Isaiah Likely, but Mark Andrews is better. Nate can attest to that.
It's true.
J.K. Dobbins at the 8-10. Ricky Pearsall at the 8-11. Nate, give me your wraparound here with the 8-12 and the 9-1.
All right, 8-12. I picked up Jordan Mason, who is probably my favorite value running back in all drafts this year. I think people are really underrating what he's going to do for the Vikings. They traded for him. Aaron Jones is now 30 years old. He's going to be, I think, really limited to more so passing downs and probably only seeing 100 to 150 carries, which means there's going to be 150 to 200 carries for Jordan Mason, who I think is really going to, if he can do anything like he did last year with the 49ers, this Vikings offense is pretty good as long as J.J. McCarthy is healthy and looks halfway decent. I think Mason's going to get a lot of touchdowns. He's going to get a lot of carries. He's going to get a lot of yards. I mean, maybe at the end of the season, it's only 800 yards, but it's going to be really good flex play from Jordan Mason. So I think he's a great value.
And then your 9-1. When I saw this, I almost called you and went, really, dude?
I hated this pick. I only made this pick because it was a mock draft. I'm not going to pick him in my real Scott Fishbowl, even though he's probably sitting there my next pick. This is a pure volume play. Calvin Ridley for the Titans. I have never had a Calvin Ridley share in my life. And I'm probably not going to add anytime soon. By the time I started coming around on him, he started being bad and had to get, kicked out of the NFL for a little bit for gambling. So he's the number one wide receiver for the Titans, though, and I really do believe in Cam Ward. I think Cam Ward's going to come out and have an incredible rookie season, and he's dropping. Cam Ward's dropping way too far in drafts. So I think for how well he's going to do, the Tennessee Titans in offense, I'm not huge on, but I think Cam Ward's going to have a really good season. I think Ridley is going to be the main benefactor of that because, I mean, as much as I love Treylon Burks, I don't think he's going to come out here and have a third-year breakout, fourth-year breakout. So it's Calvin Ridley.
Yeah, it might be over for good old Treylon at that point in time. Thank you again to the Titans front office for the A.J. Brown trade. So Hoff takes Jalen Warren at the 9-2. Shane, you got his running mate 4 rounds earlier. Still love your pick. Chris Godwin at the 9-3. And then I went ahead and hey, you want volume? Clear Shakir. He gets it up there in Buffalo. My opinion, best wide receiver that the Bills have. I know Keon Coleman's there. People like him. They also signed Josh Palmer, just really, he's a fill-in at this point, right? So I went ahead. I took Khalil Shakir. And
I love this pick, Mike. I think it's a really good pick. He's one of the guys I have on my queue for later in the draft because I think the volume that he gets, he should be drafted a lot higher than his ADP for this scoring, especially.
I didn't think he'd make it back to me, which is why I took him here. Evan Ingram goes to the 905, and then Shane, not a running back at the 9-6. Talk to me about David Njoku here for you.
Dude, David Njoku is like my favorite tight end in fantasy football, right? I mean, probably outside of George Kittle, because George Kittle is the most elitist one that's the cheapest, because it's always like, oh, we'll pay your mom for Bowers, pay your dad for McBride, and then Kittle get him 3 rounds later. It's like, well, okay, he outproduced those dudes, or he was damn near close to Bowers. Him and Bowers are close either way. David Njoku is like that next guy for me. Because there's no one, like, I don't want to pay up for any tight end from like 4 to, I don't know, 9. Like, I don't want to pay up for Laporta. I don't really want to pay up for Hawkinson. I don't feel the need to when I can get a guy like David Njoku who's going to give me spike weeks. He might not give me every week because he might not play every week. That's kind of been his history. But when he does, generally he's going to give you some really big weeks.
I think it's a great pick there at the 9-6. Then Jordan Addison at the 9-7. Rashid Shaheed, hopefully I said his name right, at the 9-8. I'm good at butchering names here in the Dynasty Run. Tucker Kraft, the guy who wasn't supposed to be the tight end one for the Packers, and yet he is, at the 9-9. Jacoby Myers, the 9-10. Ray Davis at the 9-11. And then Dalton Kincaid at the 9-12. So John going with the wrapper. And then Tyrone Tracy at the 10-1. Probably would have went higher last year, but Cam Scatteraboo coming in kind of screwed that up. What do you guys think about Tyrone Tracy at the 10-1?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not really touching the Giants' backfield too much. I'm interested in Scatteraboo later, but never been a big Tracy guy.
I'm fine with Tracy here. I mean, he's a converted wide receiver, as I don't know, I'm sure everybody says on every podcast when they ever mention him. This is what it feels like. Like no one gets that by now. Anyway, converted wide receiver, so he'll get a ton of targets, right? He thought he was playing basketball last year. He was dribbling the ball too much, so you can't do that in football. Not allowed. I mean, you're allowed to. It's frowned upon. But if he can get that out of the system, maybe hang out with Tiki Barber, whoever. I think he could have a really good year. I don't like Cam Scatteraboo even a little bit. I think he's a good pass catcher. Guess what? Tracy's better. He in college his thing was he was a brute. Well, guess what, bro? You're not that big. That ain't working in the NFL. Like I don't think he has the actual speed to be anything other than a backup, few touches a game type of guy. And I could be wrong. I mean, it won't be the first time, it won't be the last time, probably won't be the last time today. And they have Motor there. I do love Motor. Like Motor's going to find a way to start some games for them. But I think if Tracy could stop fumbling, I think he could have a really nice year.
I'd rather have Charbs, to be honest, than Tracy here. But Charbs goes next, so.
Interesting. Yeah. And as Nate alluded to, Zach Charbonnet at the 10-2, and Jared Goff, some really good value here at the 10-3. Colin getting a good number 2 quarterback there. Brandon Ayuk, Interesting. I know he's coming off injury, but still interesting that Pearsall got picked before him. Josh Palmer, who I mentioned before at the 10-5. Jordan Love at the 10-6. And then Shane shocking the world, taking a running back at the 10-7. Ramondre Stevenson. Hey, look, everyone's taking Travion Henderson. Ramondre Stevenson's not dead. I think this is a great pick at the 10-7.
Yeah, I mean, we liked Trev in college, right? But he was a committee back. Not a committee back because there was two of them, whatever. But it was a split backfield with him and Judkins. And what's that? The Jughead over there in New England, their new head coach, Mike Vrabel.
Mike Vrabel.
Yeah, thank you. He's already talked about like that's kind of the role they foresee for Trev there too. So guess what? Stevenson's still going to see probably a decent amount of touches, especially for an 11th round running back or wherever I got him here. I'm willing to take the risk on that. Like that's a guy that could have weeks where he has 15, 20 touches. And I don't know that there's a lot of running backs in this range that we could count on for that.
Yeah, I think it's a really good point. And last year he did have 207 carries alongside 33 receptions. Let's not forget, a couple years ago, 210 carries and 69 receptions. So Ramondre Stevenson, we shouldn't be discounting what he can do. There's a possibility maybe he's more efficient in a slightly reduced workload with Travion Henderson there. Nate's disagreeing with me.
He's just got to hold on to the ball. That's the thing. He fumbled way too much. He got pulled from starting a game last year because he fumbled too much. So
yeah.
Coaches don't like that.
Mike Vrabel is not going to stand for that. I still, it's 10-7. Shane, I love your thought process here, and I think it's a fantastic pick. Matthew Golden at the 10-8. And then I took Cooper Kupp. I was kind of curious as to what I was going to do here. I just went with a guy who, you know what, I understand JSN is the de facto number one guy in Seattle. I still think Cooper Kupp's going to get a good deal of targets out there with Sam Darnold. No offense there as well, but still, in the 10th round, I'm just going for pure upside. If he could stay healthy, stay on the field, we know what Cooper Kupp can do. So that's why I took him at the 10-9. Mason Taylor at the 10-10. Colston Loveland at the 10-11. And then, Nate, give us your wraparound. And we're just going to go through 12 rounds here for you guys today. And you can just kind of peruse the rest of the 13th round and the quarter way through
half of the fourth.
Something like that. But Nate, give me your wraparound for the 10-12 and the 11-1.
Yeah, very Nate turnaround here. I'm chasing volume, chasing targets at the wide receiver position. Josh Downs, who I think sounds like Daniel Jones is probably starting for the Colts. So if he is, I like Josh Downs a lot. He should be someone that's targeted early and often for that team. So he should get a lot of receptions, a lot of first downs. And then Mika Egbuka, who I think kind of can have some similar production, where he's going to get a lot of targets, have a lot of first downs, kind of been used in that intermediate area. And Chris Godwin is coming off an injury. I don't think he's going to be 100% week one. I don't know when he's going to, if he might be around week one. I really haven't heard either way yet. But Egbuka is going to get touches early on in the season and have an opportunity. And Mike Evans was talking about it earlier, like last month, that this is the best wide receiver core that he's been a part of. You got Evans, you got Godwin, you got Egbuka, and you got Jalen McMillan as well down there as well, who they really like. So I think Egbuka is someone who's going to be a good value because everyone's kind of sleeping on him. They're like, oh, well, he's a wide receiver 3 there. But Chris Godwin's coming off the injury. He might be the wide receiver 2 to start the season. Maybe Chris Godwin gets back into the swing of things, by the midway point. But Egbuka is going to have production pretty early on in the season.
All right. Then the aforementioned Cam Scatterbo, the 11-2. Shane, do you think this is a good place to take him, or would you have still went somewhere else? I know you're
this is fine. Fan. This is fine. I mean, look, we're in the 11th round. You should be taking running backs here that could have a chance, right? And we talked about I talked about how much I like Tyrone Tracy, except for the whole dropping the football thing. Well, that tends to not let you stay on the field if you keep doing that. And if that happens, and I'm wrong, Cam Scatterbo's better than I think. That's again, that's a guy that's going to get 15 to 20 carries a week.
Yep.
And he's a very good pass catcher too, right?
Yes.
So like even if he's not that skilled as a running back, you get him out and get him out some targets out of the backfield. All right, well then it starts to work a little better. His production starts to look a little better. Maybe they find that like, all right, maybe it's best if we give this dude 10 rushing attempts and 6 targets a game. That could work.
Yeah, very well could. Michael Penix Jr. at the 11-3, and then I went with Javonte Williams at the 11-4. he's going to get the first crack at the starting running back job, we assume, for the Dallas Cowboys right now. It looks that way. Miles Sanders, probably toast. Jadon Blue is a rookie. So Javonte Williams could get me some good points early in the season until the Cowboys are out of playoff contention around week 12 or so. So we'll see how that works out. Shane, that was for you, buddy. Deebo Samuel at the 11-5, and then Cam Ward at the 11-6.
I like this
Shane,
pick.
I love this pick. Nate, I want to hear your thoughts on it after Shane talks about his pick here.
I like Cam Ward a lot more than the community.
Yep.
Not the community. I hate when people say that, like they're going out on a limb and it's a straw man argument, because there are people that like him. I'm pretty high on him. I am really high on him. Look, the comp's coming out. That's the wrong word to use. Comps is not the word I want to look for here. There were discussions of how his game is similar to Patrick Mahomes. Not comped directly, because that's one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time, either him or Brady. So I don't want to put that out there, right? But just his play style, right? Throws from every angle. So when you can throw from any angle like he does, no play is dead, which is something that I really like for a quarterback. And he has the ability to run. I don't know if he will. He has it. But more importantly, even if he's a Mahomes type of mobile quarterback, where Mahomes doesn't look to run usually until it's the playoffs and he cuts your nuts off, but he looks to scramble around, and I think Cam could do that. His receiving weapons leave a little bit to be desired, right? Ridley, and I couldn't name who the wide receiver to.
Tyler Lockett.
Tyler Lockett. There you go. So that's not great. I won't lie to you. But all in all, I like Cam. This is probably more of a dynasty pick and just revert. And at some point during these Scott Fish Bowl drafts, I always revert to there's like this dynasty mindset pops out real quick. And it's like, hey, take him. And you're like, dude, it's a rookie quarterback. But I like Ward a lot.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have too much to add because I really echo a lot of the same things that Shane said. But, look at where we're picking Cam Ward here with Michael Penix, who I know there's some believers, in Michael Penix, but we haven't really seen it yet. We're picking him next to Matthew Stafford, to it. It's not like there's a lot of other really top talent on the board. I'm really happy taking a gamble on Cam Ward at this point. I think he's got the arm, he's got the leadership qualities, he's got the mental makeup to really make it in this league. And, while the offense definitely does leave some to be desired, I think he's truly a guy that brings up the offense. He elevates the players around him. He's done that at 3 different colleges. I think he can do it again at the Tennessee Titans. Not that they're going to be a playoff team or anything, but I think they're going to be much, much improved down there. And they have who's their head coach? I mean, Bryce, is it Callahan, right, or something like that?
Brian Callahan.
Yeah, Brian Callahan. He's an offensive coach, so I think they'll mesh well down there.
The 3 starting wideouts for the Tennessee Titans are Calvin Ridley, Tyler Lockett, and Van Jefferson.
Jefferson.
If you haven't done your rookie draft yet, please draft Gunnar Helm late. Chig Okonkwo and Josh Wiley, both free agents after this year. Gunnar Helm, get some good reps in with Cam Ward now. This will be as cheap as you can get him. So if you have not drafted yet, please get him. I've been doing that everywhere I could. Jaden Reed at the 11-7 could be a good value here this late. We still don't know who's going to emerge as wide receiver 1 in that Green Bay Packers wide receiver room. Bashal Tutin, the 11-8, going before Tank Bigsby at the 11-9. Nate, it's got to be killing you, man.
Killing me. I'll take the value on Bigsby. He's going like 3 rounds after Tutin usually.
Yeah, give me Bigsby over Tutin. At least for this year.
Yeah.
Could be longer as well. Michael Pittman at the 11-10. I think this is another great value pick here. Luther Burden at the 11-11. And then the wraparound here, Kyle Pitts and Trey Benson at the 11-12 and 12-1 respectively. This is going to be the last round that we're going over. Matthew Stafford at the 12-2. Rashad White at the 12-3. Tua at the 12-4. Tyler Algier at the 12-5. Tajay Spears, Nate was saying that he thought this would be a good value pick later in the draft. Here he is in the 12th round. Austin Eckler. Shane, dude, another running back, really?
And what makes this worse is that I drafted Brian Robinson earlier, so I'm literally betting against myself. So this wasn't a good pick. All it was is I look out there and I go, Austin Eckler is too good to be sitting out there with no thought of the construction of my roster, who's actually on it, and I drafted him.
Did have
Yeah.
35 receptions last year.
Yeah.
Only played 12 games, 77 carries. So, if he plays a full season this year, I think he had a concussion last year, if memory serves me correctly.
Yeah, he had
Missed some time.
at least one.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he honestly didn't look washed. He just
No,
No.
he didn't.
but he did get a lot of volume. And he missed that back half of that season where Jaden Daniels was really and that offense was really in rhythm. They were talking about him as a cut candidate, but until he gets cut, I'm gonna believe that he's gonna be part of that offense. So
Yeah, and another guy who has put up some really good finishes in his career, also
oh yeah.
like Alvin Kamara, has never rushed for 1,000 yards. Just an interesting fact there. Stephon Diggs at the 12-8, and then my last pick, I took Jack Besh at the 12-9 in the 12th round. I know he's a rookie, but going to be a guy who's going to come in. He's going to be able to command targets right away for the Raiders. I think him and Geno Smith are going to be a good pairing. Don't know how long that will last for dynasty purposes.
This is Mike's dynasty mindset coming out in the redraft.
I'm like Shane, I can't turn that off. It's just what we do. I'm just saying for dynasty purposes. Don't know how long it's going to last, but with the Geno Smith there, he's not the future. Obviously, still I like Jack Besh. I think he's going to get a good amount of targets this year. Marvin Mims at the 12-10, Isaac Guerrero at the 12-11, and then Nate finishes off Jonnu Smith at the 12-12.
Hey, he's reunited with Arthur Smith. He's going to get opportunity. Poor Pat Freiermuth. Johnny Smith
is going to be fine.
Johnny Smith put up a ton of points in this kind of scoring last year. So if Arthur Smith is really that excited about getting him that they had to go trade for him, then I'm going to take a chance late that he could get a ton of volume again. And I know we're not going to go into the 13th round, but I'll talk about my 13-1 real quick. Darnell Mooney, like I said earlier, a ton of volume with the Falcons. And Mooney had some really, really good games last year, some really high weeks where he was putting up 20, 30 points. So, I'm going to bet on that upside there.
And also Jonnu Smith, 88 receptions for 884 yards and 8 touchdowns last year. It's a lot of eights. By the way, more of an indictment on the Pittsburgh Steelers wide receiver room than on Pat Freiermuth, I believe. So, yeah, I don't hate this at all. So, yeah, Shane, thank you for hanging out with us tonight.
Yeah.
No, appreciate you having me on. This is fun. Knock out a mock, talk about our mock, think about the things that we've done.
Yeah. I love doing mocks, especially for Scott Fishbowl when you haven't done it yet. It's just one of those things kind of helps you prepare. You learn from your mistakes in the mock, see what other people did, see how you can adjust.
That's what I did. I waited on quarterback. I picked up Trevor Lawrence. I think it was like in the 7th round in the actual Scott Fishbowl as my first quarterback. So I looked at this and I said, oh gosh, I do not need to pick up quarterback early. And I took my time.
And admittedly now, where I am at the 1-9, if Ashton Genty's there, I'm going to take him instead. If he hasn't been taken before me.
Yeah, I think it's a decent pick. Christian McCaffrey actually went 2-8 a whole round later in my actual draft. I think people are scared.
Shane, anything you would do different?
Probably not drafting Austin Eckler. You know what? I like Austin Eckler there. I might go a different way with the Brian Robinson pick, knowing that I could get Austin Eckler there. Anthony Richardson, at that point, I'm already looking at like, screw it, just upside.
Yeah, why not?
Probably a little early for that. You know what I mean? Considering that he's not even guaranteed to be a starter for week 1. So those 2 picks. I mean, Cam Ward too is probably a little sketch in this. So really, my last 3 picks, it's like, you start off well, and then the last 3 picks, I started fading a little bit. So maybe it's good that you ended the mock when you did, because I don't know what else I would have done next.
There was probably still some running backs left on the board. So, Shane, thank you again for joining us. It's been too long. I think we should have Shane back on. If you think Shane should come back on at some point, leave us a comment down below on YouTube. You may comment on Spotify as well. Until next time, everybody. For Nate and Shane, I'm Mike. Thanks for listening.